Hello, everyone. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Interview with the Masters with Christian Naruto. We're gonna be starting shortly. I have a message real quick. CGMA's summer session starts in July 1st. Christian will be teaching this head and drawing and construction, and I will be handing it off to Christian right now. Oh, and before we start, this is open forum. You can ask questions anytime on the questions bar, and there's a chat, and I will be relaying the questions to Christian as we go on. So without further ado, here is Christian.
What is up, guys? As Jonathan was explaining, my name is Christian. So we have a new class coming up, and it's going to be the head drawing class, so it should be pretty fun. It's going to be the same relative approach to the analytical figure drawing class for those of you that are familiar with that. So it will be an in-depth look at the construction and anatomy of the head, and then we'll transition all that into like eventual rendering. So lighting, compositions, and even like theoretical stuff, which will be fun. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be something that we've been needing, considering the previous classes we probably only cover the head a total of like 2 or 3 weeks. And since it's such a vital part of, design or at least character stuff, it'll be good. I'm excited for it. So, but yeah, I guess a little background on me. My name's Christian. I've been teaching for like 10 years now, which seems crazy. Like it makes me feel super old. But my background in the industry is I'm a sculptor. I worked at a company called Atomic Monkey for the better part of 10 years, so I was a little juggling back and forth between that and teaching. So we did a lot of merchandise for like video games, movies, TV shows, a lot of the Simpsons stuff, maybe too much Simpsons stuff. But it's cool. It's what it is. Anyway, I won't even get into that. But we did some cool stuff. This was probably like the last thing I did before I kind of started stepping away from it. Was the stuff for Bioshock Infinite. So that was a lot of fun. Also something crazy. So I did a lot of stuff for Halo. So everything from Halo 2, Halo 3. We did that Legendary Edition that came with a helmet. We did 2 of these, which was a full-size Master Chief, so it stood at like 7'2". One was for Bungie's lobby, and we did another one for Microsoft, which is also fun. And then we did some stuff for E3 too. We did the Reach team, which was really fun. That's how I'm going to remember that. That was fun. I'm going to make a point to say that. So, but yeah, I mean, we did a lot of stuff. I do a lot of other stuff too. I mean, as a teacher, I teach. I teach so many classes, but I teach life drawing, anatomy, obviously sculpting, of course, crochet sculpting, which is fun, painting. I do a lot of painting. So these are just like Alla Prima paintings that are just done really quick. Most of these are Alla Prima paintings. So,
Wow, great.
but yeah, I don't know, just everything. I didn't even mention all of the classes I teach, but that's me in a nutshell, basically. So right now I'm primarily teaching, really focused on that. So, I enjoy it. I love it. Sharing is caring. So,
Cool.
that's what I do.
What medium are you using for those Alla Prima paintings?
These are just acrylic. I've always kind of just painted in acrylic. So these are just quick studies. Like all those paintings that I showed were probably, I don't know, like easily under 4 hours, probably under like 3 hours. Realistically, they're probably like around 2 hours, just because like I'm lecturing and then I'm walking around helping people, so they're super quick. That's why they look so crappy.
Wow.
Most of these, so but it's fun. I also paint in my sketchbook a lot, like this. I'll do that. Like this is sketchbook too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's fun because all my pages get stuck together and I never get to see it again. Make sure that I take a picture before I close it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome, man. And this is just that. Is this a moleskin, like the smaller moleskin, or
yeah, these are just the smaller moleskins.
what? Oh,
so,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, I like doing this. I have to go to fun meetings a lot for school, so I just sit there and I just draw people. It's always
Nice.
fun.
These are awesome, man. I love seeing like sketchbooks. Get to see like what you are like, what how you observe things, and just free flow out of your head. It's nice.
Right. I am the same way. Like if I can find it, I always like to see like artists that I admire. I like to see their sketchbook stuff because it shows more of like their thought process and more of like the stuff they don't intend to present to people. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's a little bit more raw.
Right,
But
right.
that's something I enjoy seeing.
Yeah,
It's always fun.
exactly.
So man, I look at these and I'm like, why did I put these on my website? Horrendous. Anyway.
Were these like life drawing, or were they just like
Yeah, these are all from like a classroom setting. So these are like the models standing in front of us.
gotcha,
So these are
gotcha.
just like quick, like 30-second, 1 minute gestures. Um, I'll do this a lot. I'll sit there and I'll draw my hand over and over because I'm a weirdo. I'll just, well, okay, because really is like I struggle with drawing hands. I like to think of it like that. So I just attack it and I just draw my hands over and over again. I say plurally. I draw my hand over and over again, like singularly. So
Yeah,
it's
those look awesome.
fun.
It looks really nice as just like an illustration too, like all these hands together. That's really cool, man. I think you have something
Totally
there.
accidental. Thanks. Yeah, and then there's the inside of my old car.
Nice.
That's fun.
Cool.
So, but yeah. So, but I am pretty stoked for the new class. I already have like some interest from like current students, so I'm excited to
Hmm.
get that started next term. So, yeah, maybe we can even get started with a demo,
Yeah, that
and
would be great.
we can talk while we do this. So,
Sounds good.
I don't know. Should
Have
probably
you
make.
always shown like a passion for anatomy? Because I know like people who really get into anatomy, like there's something about it that just like what is it that one why anatomy? I guess I'm asking. If that
I,
makes
I, for me, it was always figure. Like I've always been drawing since I was a little kid. Um, I started off. My dad likes to take credit for teaching me how to draw.
sense.
But when I remember I was like 5 or something, we would take my old action figures, and he would lay them on a piece of paper, and then we would trace like an outline, like a dead body of it, and then he would move the action figure, then we would fill it in. Um,
Oh,
so that was like that's my first like memory of drawing. But I don't know, I got really obsessive. Like I would draw like I would find comic books and just I wouldn't even read the comics. I would just try to redraw the comics a lot
uh-huh.
as a little kid. Um, but it was always the figure for me. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I get obsessive about anatomy. Like creepy, weird about it. Like I'll be watching Avengers and I'm like, wow, you can see his brachialis. I get all, I don't know.
That's awesome though, man.
Appreciate and obviously especially in art. Like I like seeing good stuff, and it's always fun seeing bad anatomy too. So,
Right, right.
but yeah.
That's cool.
Whoa. Whoop. What is happening? There we go. So, where are we? So yeah, right now I'm just doing this basic construction. For those of us that are familiar with this, like those of us that are here that maybe have taken like a figure drawing class or the analytical figure drawing class, this is like week 3 of things, so just general proportions of things. One of the things, and like this is just me, this is like, I'm my students that know me, I'm super non-committal when I draw. So like I just like right now, like I just drew it too long, so I'm making adjustments. So when I say I'm non-committal, just because I drew something, I'm like I always want to assume that I messed up, so I'm double checking,
Hmm.
making sure that thing's right. Also, when I say I'm non-committal, like I don't care if my drawing looks like the person or not. Like that's never my intention, unless I'm getting paid and they want me to make it look like them. So then, yeah, I want to. But I mean, otherwise, it's just source of inspiration for the drawing. My commitment is to my drawing and not to the thing that I'm drawing. So, but I know that's like a common thing. Like a lot of people are kind of all about that too. So,
did you always draw like this, like very non-committals, as you were saying, or?
no, not at all. And I think that's why I am now, because when I was younger, you draw something. I'll do this really quick. This is me when I was like a little kid. I would draw from a photograph, and I'm immediately like, the first thing I'm drawing is just like, oh, I'll spend like 10 hours on just drawing like an eye forever. I don't even construct anything, and it's just like, and then I end up with like a really lumpy, weird drawing, and I don't know why. It's just because I'm not seeing the big picture, But it's just this forever, and I'll erase over and over again to the point where like the paper becomes furry because I've erased too many times. But yeah, it was a lot of that, just like tedious noodling with like tiny pencils.
Right.
It was just not fun. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this is eventually stuff that we're going to get into in the class, so we're going to break all this down for a good reason too. You know what I mean? I like to assume that the people that are taking the class are going to move on to either like 3D modeling or just even like 2D concept stuff. But at least, when we do draw, not from a construction point of view, but just drawing, at least we know when we draw something, we know exactly what we're addressing. Like if I'm shading, right here, I know that I'm shading like the brow, you know what I mean? Or like I know if I see that cheekbone with zygomatic arch and I can see shape, you know what I mean? So, and also like I can justify facial expressions. And on top of that, invent, you know what I mean? Just draw it in my head.
Right.
Without having to like rely on too much, I don't know, photo reference.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
But this helps.
Yeah, I feel like being able to invent figures feels really nice, so you can just bust it out, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, because like I'm sure, like, that's a lot of time spent, like, learning, and I mean, I don't think anybody stops learning, like, we're continuously growing, you know what I mean, hopefully at least. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's like, no reason to stop.
Right.
There's so much to learn.
Because it's never been like anybody that's ever achieved anything was like, I'm done learning. I've learned everything there is to know about everything I need to know. Like that's nobody was ever.
Right.
It's not the case, right? So.
I mean, I feel like the artists or people who do that, they just kind of like stick to that one thing forever, and that's like what they do, which is cool. But
kinda, I guess. Yeah, I mean, kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I think that just leads to like stagnating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
If that's all you're gonna do, then that's fine. But I mean, I'm not gonna knock it. It's what people do. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, especially for people like trying to get into concept art, it's like you kind of have to know a lot about a lot of things. Or at least like you're constantly researching, building on top of things. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you really have to dig deep.
Right. I mean, there are people that are like anomalies, like Kim Jong-gi, like that guy.
Oh my God, yeah, that guy's amazing.
He's not a human. Like it's weird. The guy's he was born like from Xerox. Like I think he just made an laboratory. Like it's ridiculous what that guy can do.
Yeah.
But even him, like he's still like I've gone to like one of his open house things, and he was talking about how like every morning he wakes up and it's all about just what's going on in the world and like still like learning, discovering. I think that's really cool.
Wow, that's really amazing to hear from him. That's really cool.
Yeah.
To even like a person like Kim Jong-gi, he's still out learning and about like progressive about it.
Yeah. When I saw him, Neville Page introduced him, so he came out and talked for like 10 minutes. And then he was like, ladies and gentlemen, Kim Jong-gi, and he came out and just waved to the crowd and just started drawing immediately. He's such a baller. It was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to a book signing to get my book signed from him, and he signed the books by drawing whatever you requested.
What the hell? Who does that?
I
That's so
know.
amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. But yeah, I don't know. That guy's. I mean, I tell my students that because at the school, other schools that I teach out there, I have students that have never drawn before, and they get super discouraged immediately, like especially early because they see these students that have been drawing for a long time and, they're like, how come I can't do that? And I'm like, just it's practice. It's all it is. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that if I practice forever, I'll be like Kim Jong-gi. I think he's like an exception. But I mean, I think, you're learning you're sacrificing and you're investing time,
Right. Yeah, definitely.
into improving.
It's a long-term lifestyle.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That lifestyle, that's like perfect. I don't know. I think that's the way to think about it because it's not just like a hobby. It's not like a job.
Right.
I would even say career. It's like lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, because like as an artist myself, it's just on 24/7. Like just thinking about that in the back.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if I could do anything else. It's weird.
Right. I know. Like I think about that. Like what would I be doing if I wasn't? I couldn't even imagine. I think it would still. I'd be like an accountant trying to be creative with numbers. Like, well, if you look at it this way, just do your work.
Yeah.
To me, it's so weird.
You'd be an accounting like just take it to the next accounting to the next level.
I'd I'd probably think that, but like realistically, it'd be like, Christian, this is the fourth time this week that you've cost of
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars you're fired.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would be doing if it wasn't like in some kind of artistic. I don't know. This is really weird now. It became a skull with lips. It's like red skull.
Yeah, I was about to say that. There's a question. Do you do any exhibitions of your own?
No, a couple times in the past, I was lucky to be a part of some things. Where is it? I did this one thing. I don't know how it happened. It'll never happen again ever in my life. I did this painting for this like group show that I was part of, but like there was like Glenn Keane was in the show, Ian McKegg was in the show.
Oh wow.
And then my dumb painting. I'm like, oh man, I still don't know how it happened. But it was cool. This was I was working on a comic book, and this was like my main character. I was also super into Assassin's Creed at the time, so this was like my character in the Animus. It was really dumb.
Oh, I see.
Super lowbrow, but I sold it, and it was sold, so I was kind of happy. But yeah, I don't do any exhibition stuff.
That's cool. I mean, I really enjoy the feeling of that painting. It's very like kind of ethereal, like dream-like. Yeah,
Cool.
it's cool.
Thanks, man. That's what I was going for.
Oh, okay, good.
So it's cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's always fun. I don't know. There are times where I've wanted to get into it, like interested, but I don't know. I think a lot of times I'm all over the place with what I want to do with my life, or at least with my creativity, Because if you asked me like last year this time, I would probably be like, oh man, I want to become a blacksmith. I don't know. And a part of me still does. I want to get space, and my girlfriend and I have talked about doing woodwork, and getting a kiln, doing some blacksmithing too. I think that could always be fun.
That would be awesome. I feel like nobody does that anymore.
I know it's hard to come by because I don't know anything about it, right? So it's like how do I learn? I'd have to like apprentice somewhere and drive really far just to find somebody that like legitimately does like cool blacksmithing stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, man.
But I think that's the thing with like you, I'm sure, like we all like I think you become an artist and then you realize like how many different things you can apply yourself at, and you just
Mhm.
like possibilities become endless, and then it's
Very
like what
true.
do I want to dedicate myself to? So I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
even know what
very
I'm doing
true.
right now. This
It
looks
looks like
okay.
you know, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take this. Let's go. Do do. There you go. Perfect. Excellent.
Awesome. Um, what is the like the rectangular cube that's under her chin? What is that like placement for something?
Oh, I always try to find planes if I can. You know what I mean? So if I can break things down into more simple planes. So it's basically like this if I'm breaking down the shapes.
Gotcha. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant like on the neck.
Oh, this is the hyoid bone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically it's a weird bone that doesn't connect to other bones by bone. It's like kind of held in place by muscles. So we have like a bunch of your throat muscles that come down from like your chin. We have the omohyoid, everything holding down and then going down to the pit of the neck. So it's this weird shape. It's almost like if you think a group of staples or
Uh-huh.
like three walls kind of coming together. And then they also have like two little bunny ears right here.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a hyoid bone. So this just helps me kind of place the underplane
Oh, I
of the
see.
face so
Oh,
that way
wow.
it doesn't feel like a big mask. So again, it's
Got
just
you.
if I can use anatomy at any point to like help me get like the proper placement of things,
Mm-hmm.
then I will. So
I see. Wow, that's super subtle. I just learned something just now.
Shasha, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just because of like teaching. I do so much figure drawing and like so much constructive anatomy, and then it gets to the point where it's like if I don't have to, I'm still doing it. You know what I mean? Like I can't not construct. It's really weird.
I see.
Then you get used to it.
Would you say it's almost like if you do that, it's like a guarantee that you'll have a good drawing, kind of?
It definitely won't hurt. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
think having a better understanding of what you're drawing will always improve. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. Like if you're, I'm always relying on observation, or if I'm trying to invent, but I'm inventing without knowledge, and then I run into problems, right?
mm,
Because I see kids do it all the time, and then they're just drawing eyes. They're drawing from the model, and they do all this stuff.
right,
I'm like,
right,
I don't even see that. You're sitting like 15 feet away from her. How are you even seeing eyelashes? Like, what does that even matter? You know
right.
what I mean? So
Hmm.
at least with this, like, it's a little bit more informed. So I don't know.
Yeah, that
Of
makes
course, I'll
sense.
never say that to a student. I'll be like, that looks fantastic. I won't say that either. I'll just
Right.
be troubled by them.
So we have a question relating to that is, do you do the skull muscle process drawing every time you started drawing? Or is this just...
No, no. So that's the thing about like all of this that we're doing right now. I don't ever, like if I'm just drawing, I won't construct like this far. I think of this as like we're using drawing as a tool to learn. You know what I mean? So this is just our process of learning forms, of learning proportions and
Mhm.
planes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then that way, like I said earlier, like that way we can go back to eventually just drawing however we were drawing, but now we know what we're doing. You know what I mean? Um,
right, right.
so no, I don't always do this. Like if I'm just drawing it for fun, I'll almost never do that.
Got you.
Um, unless it's super complicated, no,
Hmm.
I'll have to. I don't know.
Um, how would you define structure, or how would you describe structure?
Structure, like
Mhm.
structure isn't like, um, well, I don't know. I think like what we're doing with drawing, right, and like even like digital painting, what we're doing is we're creating the illusion of like 3D forms on a 2D plane, right? So for us to understand these planes, proportions, and everything, this gives us the ability to make that 3D feel 3D. You know what I mean? This that way we can avoid all these like making things look flat or like unbelievable even, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just from, I don't know, from construction. Because like the whole basis of the class, right, is from 3D shapes, right? I'm just doing everything from spheres, boxes, cylinders, you know what I mean? Like some, like very simple stuff. Like it's almost like thinking of things in abstraction. Like I'm just minimizing things, which helps me remember everything.
Right.
Like helps me remember the simple forms. So, and then I can later on like move to complicate things more, like learn the more complex actual shapes of things. So,
Got you.
but it also like just learning, like knowing like the structure of things, helps for like lighting. Like when I was a kid, it was always impossible for me. I'd make a drawing and I wouldn't shade it, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to mess it up. Like I'm gonna shade it and like screw it up, and I'll just screw it and I'll sign it and I'll just be done with it. You know what I mean? And that's another thing that I'm like a big believer in. Like just don't be afraid. I notice a lot of students will like their stuff is weak because they're afraid that they're gonna mess it up. And I always tell them, I'm like, who cares? Like mess it up. Like do it. Like you'll
Right.
I don't know, you'll learn more. At least you'll learn your boundaries. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting how that happens. How you could be afraid for
Right.
something that's not really going to affect you in any serious way right
Yeah.
away, I guess.
I think people do it. They're in the middle of their drawing. Sometimes it comes out really well, and they're like, they don't want to ruin that, so just like stop while you're ahead.
Right, yeah. I could totally
So
relate to that in the beginning too. I was the same.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I read an article, and this woman was talking about how she always stops her paintings at 95%, because there's always that like you're done, and you're like, yeah, I feel good, and then you look at it, you're like, you know what? I could do one more thing, and then you add like one more thing, and then you're like, oh, I messed it up. Like I should have just left it. So her whole thing is just to like just call it before it's done, you know, and just leave it. Because, you know, like art, I think with everybody, and everybody can probably relate to this, like you're never finished, right? You just abandon things, right? So it's just like, oh, I'm over it. I don't care. But I think we can all relate to overdoing things sometimes. So, man.
Right,
I
yeah.
was going to do muscle, and I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm just talking. I don't know. It's weird. Whatever.
It's all good.
Anyway.
What is your thinking when you move from abstract shapes to detail? Like right now, for example, you had the structure of the nose, and then eventually it looks like a nose now.
I think I rely on the abstractions to get the detail, because the abstractions is what keeps it like, whoa, sorry, that might have been super loud. I rely on the abstractions, like figure drawing or like gesture, right? I think of like gesture as like major abstractions, and then I use that to build my structure on top of, because if I'm just doing structure, it becomes flat, you know, it becomes like I lose all that like fluidity in the pose. So I don't know.
Right.
That's to me, it's like doing all of this is just like I'm always like being respectful of my original like abstract lay-in. You know what I mean? So that way it doesn't become still. You know what I mean? Because there are times, like when I was a kid, I would always like drawing. Let's say this was the photograph that I was drawing, and by the time I'm done with my drawing, I've kind of straightened things out. Like it's become this, you know, and I'm like, or even like turned more or whatever. But I think that's like why, like the power of gesture. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there are all kinds of different gestures to start off with. And I wouldn't say anything's wrong. It's just some gestures are more useful than others. So at least for what we're doing.
Got you.
So I don't know. I found like when I started painting, it completely changed my approach to drawing. Also when I started sculpting too, that dramatically changed my approach when I drew or started drawing.
How so how did sculpting affect your drawing?
I think because like when I used to draw before like art school and everything, I was super tight with everything. So it wasn't any of this like what I was doing here, but I just like like literally I would count the eyelashes and I would try to get those same count, like ridiculous, unnecessary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like just noodling all this detail, even like this, try to like all this hair in here, try to match that.
Right.
And then with sculpting, I think, you know, it felt so fast to me and it felt so free because it's tangible.
Mm-hmm.
And then with drawing, I wanted it to feel that way too, so I got really loose with my drawings after I started sculpting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started painting, I became less reliant on line, and then just kind of blocking in shapes and forms when I started painting. So now if I'm doing like a drawing, like let's say I was doing like a full render drawing, I wouldn't have done any of this, right? It would just be more of like a painting, so I'm just blocking in big shapes.
Right.
Like
Right.
it became, instead of using this, it was about using like this, right? So just avoiding line altogether. Not altogether, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I understand. That's cool.
But I mean, like I know you know what I'm talking about. Like with all like digital painting, I mean, a lot of it's just blocking in shapes quickly, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Do you use ZBrush at all?
I have, I do, I like it. I don't know. I just, it's weird. It's weird. With certain programs, like I dig it. Like Photoshop, I love Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3D Max, I'm not a fan. I'm like, I like Maya. It's weird. I kind of like modeling in Maya better than ZBrush, and you would think because I'm a sculptor I would like ZBrush more.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I like, it's weird. It's like how you got to be so anal and just moving vertice by vertice. I like that.
I see.
It's super weird.
Just like
I don't know.
the sense of control.
Oh, is that what it is?
I
Oh
don't know.
man.
I'm just throwing something out there. I have no idea.
Oh my god. Maybe it's because I don't feel like I have enough control in my life that I have control over my model. Maybe that's all art is for everybody, right? Some people
Yeah.
also feel like you have control
Totally.
over
I
it.
could totally. Yeah, totally.
Oh man. I'm having like a moment right now. But yeah, I don't know. So Jonathan, I'm going to ask you questions. How long have you been an artist? Like, would you say? Like, when did
Oh,
when did you
man.
start?
Well, I didn't realize that I was an artist till later. Like I used to draw when I was little, but I didn't draw draw like characters or copy. I would actually draw like stories, like come up with stories,
Oh man, that's awesome.
like little stories. And then that's when I realized like, oh wow, I could do this for a living. And then, well, there's more to it, but basically that's what happened. Like, so I guess ever since I was very little, but I wasn't aware of it until I was maybe like 15, like really aware of it. Like, oh man, I'm an artist now, I guess.
That's cool. I mean, that's cool because you're like drawing stories, like comic books or storyboards, basically when you were younger. Or?
Not, yeah, like little storybooks and little like if I drew a character, I would point out the story, like, oh, he came from this land or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Natural storyteller. That's cool.
I guess. I mean, I guess I'd say I'm more of a natural, like, like making up worlds. I'm not so good at telling. I can tell a story, but I don't know how to condense it. Like
Right,
that's tough for me, yeah. Do you ever do like characters in environments in perspective? And if you do, like, do you have any tips on that?
I do. I just finished a character design class for like a concept character class. We just actually had finals. It was a lot of fun. In that class, we took like the Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, and Greek myth, and everybody had to basically build or like create 3 characters, like redo 3 characters.
Uh-huh.
I had a couple people do environments. I'm not an environment person. Like I do all character stuff and all figure stuff. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I just enjoy doing the figure more, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, I think for those of you that are like getting into like concept art, and I think it's just like kind of what Jonathan was saying. It's like we have to think about the story first. I think, in my opinion, right, stories should always come first before we start getting into like design, because then it's your design's arbitrary if there's no design to back it up, or there's no story to back it up, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
we need to justify all those things with story. So I would think, think about that first, right? Even if it's as simple as, if you just want to practice, it's like what kind of person is this that you're creating, right? Are they
Right. Yeah.
like the character, not even like, are they a good guy or bad guy? I would think like deeper than that, like their character traits even, right? Like define
Definitely.
them. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I think, and also it's just thinking about your target audience and like the overall mood of like the story that you're telling too, because I think I notice people will run into trouble if those things aren't like really thought out. You know what I mean? I think people will start, their designs become weak because their story is not finished or isn't fleshed out. So
Yeah, that's so true, man. That's very true.
so I don't know. That's always, I would sit there and really just think about your story. But for me, and like this might be you too, because like we were just talking about this, sometimes you can get really lost in that and then go like, then all of a sudden you have like a 90-page script
Yeah.
just to do 3 drawings.
Right, right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. I get lost in that stuff.
We have someone wondering if you participate in Comic-Con or do any like illustration for books.
I've done book illustrations, which I won't name because they're embarrassing. But I did like 4 book covers. They're actually audio book covers. So that was interesting. Comic-Con, we used to go to Comic-Con every year, just from the toy company that I worked at, because we had a booth there. Comic-Con's fun. It's like Vegas. Like I can take it for a day, and then I need to leave quickly.
Right.
It's just overwhelming. There's just so much going on there, but I don't know. That is eventually something I'd like to get into. I've talked to like friends about kind of developing a story. I'm like, I don't know, just working on something. I'm a big comic book fan. Like I read comics, so I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's a safe environment here.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I think everybody, if they don't know about comics, they're like, oh, you read like, I don't know, Avengers or whatever. I'm like, I actually don't. I mean, okay, I take it back. I read Thor, like God Bomb and God Butcher. That was
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! If you guys listening have not read God Butcher and God Bomb, go find it. It's awesome.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Assad Ribic is the artist's name. I think he's Romanian, and
Yeah.
every panel is like watercolor painted, like gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
And Jason Aaron was the writer. His stories was just amazing. It was such a great like deconstruction and celebration of the character. It was really
Nice.
cool. But I don't know, I like non-superhero stuff, like a lot of the Image comics. Like Saga was really good before they got really sad. Black Science is really good. Deadly Class. I don't know. I buy my comics by writer. That's how I go. But I don't know. But I'm totally getting off subject. What were we talking about?
No, this is great. I mean, I'm actually pulling them up right now real quick just so I could see them too.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I do buy by artist. I would buy, this is back in the day, I bought like a ton of Fables just because James Jean's covers. Like that's
Oh, yeah. Those are amazing.
And then one artist now that I'll buy his stuff just because he drew it is Zack Snyder. No, not Zack. Sorry, Sean Murphy.
Oh, Sean Murphy. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's nuts, man. His stuff is beautiful. He has like a real visceral feel to it. But if you guys are looking for good backgrounds in comics, like Sean Murphy, his perspective is immaculate, and it just feels effortless. He did The Wake. I think he's doing, I can't remember what it's, Chrononauts? Something right now with Mark Millar. So he's doing cool stuff. Sorry, I'm super nerding out right now.
It's all good, dude. What was the Thor one that you were talking about?
God Bomb and God Butcher. It's a 2-part. I remember which one goes first.
Oh, okay.
and then God Butcher.
Cool.
I think God Butcher might have come first. It's just like two graphic novels back to back. So, but it's definitely worth reading.
Got you. I guess speaking of comics, there's a question saying, what about anatomy when you have to do extreme cartoon characters? I'm guessing like really simplified.
For me, it's less about anatomy and then more about shape, right? And I'm just thinking shape language. I mean, I still, if I'm doing like, like if I was doing this, right? Like I don't see there to be like a need to have like anatomy, right? Like I wouldn't go in there and like try to imagine, like, I don't know. But I would still think form. I mean, like it's got to function, right? So I think that's one of the main things. Going back to design, like that's a big thing for me. I'm always function over form. So if like I would rather things look like they really work as opposed to look cool. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of designers out there, and and there's a lot of video games too where it's like they have their shoulder pads are like gigantic, and it's like
all
how
the
would he
time.
scratch his face? Like he wouldn't even like. If you had an itchy nose, you'd have to rub it up against a pillar or something, you know.
Right.
So I don't know, and I think there has to be kind of like going back, so it's like story's got to justify everything, and then function. You know what I mean? So I'm already really interested in what I'm drawing right now. This is a lot of fun. Anyway, but I would think more shape and form. You know, that's just going back to just simple ideas of basic shape, even. You know what I mean? Like if I'm just looking at this now, I'm going to lecture right now. If I'm just thinking about like these simple shapes, right? Like these are basic, but they still emote. Like they can still bring emotion out of the viewer, right? And it's at a subconscious level. Because I look at a circle and there's no edges, there's no sharp corners, so it's like soft, it's serene, it's calm. You know, I look at this and this is like stable. This is immovable, right? This is stable too. Like there's, but if I take this same exact shape and I turn it upside down, right? Now there's tension. Right now it's imbalance. So I mean, just thinking like that. If I look at Robot Devil from like Futurama, right? That guy's like all. I mean, he's got circle eyes, but everything else is like triangles.
Yeah.
Right. So even if I did, and this is just like I'm not drawing anything specifically, but if I do this, just like repeating triangles, right? Like how does that make you feel about that ball, right? That's a bad place to be, right? Like, and it's just, and even though this is just zigzags and two lines, I'm repeating these threatening shapes. So I think, I don't know that for something super cartoony, I wouldn't be thinking anatomy, I would be thinking shape, because this kind of addresses a more like primitive or primal feeling or emotion out of people than anatomy might. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that even answers that person's question. Sorry.
No, I think you answered it, except they just went offline. But yeah, you answered it pretty well. I'm sure it helped everyone.
Because what is this guy talking about? I'm not that's funny. I don't know. But I mean, for cartoony stuff, and that's my problem. I think we talked about this before we started. Or even like I can't not construct. So even if I'm thinking about cartoons, like cartoony characters, it's still like really easy for me to just fall into like construction again and not think about, you know, shape. Because I might start off in a good place and then all of a sudden it gets like super constructive. Like, man, why does this 8-year-old cartoony kid have like hardcore serratus muscles?
Right.
I don't know. So I don't know. It's just, and that it goes back to like what's the point of your design, right? Or what's your goal?
That makes sense.
I don't even know what's happening here.
Do you draw on a tablet or do you draw like on some type of screen tablet, like a Cintiq or?
Oh, I'm on Intuos 4.
Okay.
Is what I'm on. So I'm on my tablet. I got used to this so much that it's weird for me to use a Cintiq. Like I don't know. I have a hard time with it, even though it's more intuitive. Like I'm like my hand's in the way. I can't see my drawing. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
It seems to be like a consensus I hear between a lot of artists where it's just your hand gets in the way kind of thing. I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought that was just me.
Yeah.
Like I'm some kind of weirdo. What about you? I mean,
I'm
do you
the
prefer
same
to paint?
actually. I don't really like drawing on the screen,
Yeah.
especially for painting. Maybe not so much drawing, but when it comes to painting, it's really like weird. I don't know what it is. It's like awkward.
Right. I get that. I mean, I'm kind of that same. I don't know. This was. I mean, when I first started with the tablet, it was like really weird.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
just
It was really
getting
hard.
used.
Hmm.
Um, but then you get so used to it, and I think that's the thing. Like when people see people paint digitally, they're just like, oh, he's using the computer. It's just easy.
Right.
Computer's doing all the work for
They
you.
have no idea.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know. That's cool. Do you have any like major source of inspiration that keeps you motivated?
Um,
You mentioned comics. Anything else?
I mean, comics. I like honestly for me, teaching is super inspiring.
Hmm.
It's just seeing people get excited. It gets me excited. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And just being able to share my discoveries with people and then see them like it affect them the same way it affected me. It
Hmm.
keeps me it keeps me grounded, and it also like keeps me like stoked about it. You know what I mean? Because then it's just like I want to learn more, just so I can share more with people. You know, I don't know.
Right on, man.
It's
That's
weird.
awesome.
But but you know, obviously, like if I'm getting down to like things I'm into, like movies, love movies, TV shows, video games. I'm a huge toy collector. Like man, everything that I'm saying is super dork, like man dork for sure.
It's okay,
But
dude.
yeah,
It's all good.
big toy collector. So it's it's bad. It's a problem. It's become a problem. But yeah, I'm a toy collector. Um,
But it's a source of inspiration for you?
yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like I don't know. I see it. I like to justify like I was in the toy industry. I'm not in the industry anymore, but I still I don't know. Um,
Is there a
it's
particular set of series of toys that you collect
oh man, Hot
or many?
Toys. That's
Hot
I'm
toys,
like
okay.
if you guys know, those are super expensive.
Yeah, those
Uh,
are they're so good though. The quality of it is amazing.
I literally before like earlier today I got the Marty McFly finally.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Wait, which one? The
The
one
the new Hot Toys Marty McFly from Back to the Future. Um,
oh, dang, I don't think I've seen that
so I know it came out. It came out in Hong Kong a couple. No, I'm getting deep now. But yeah, it finally hit the states like this week, so I finally got my hands on it. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
one.
I,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's all fun to me. Like I don't know, but as far as like artists, like I don't know. There's artists like I'm a huge James Jean fan. That guy's awesome.
Hmm.
But also like just on Instagram, man, you just find so many new artists, um,
Yeah.
and that's always inspiring too. Because you know, there's a good show for those of you that are listening that are in Southern California. There's an awesome show in Long Beach at the Museum of Art this weekend that just started. So I can't remember what it's called, but like Audrey Kawasaki's got a huge mural. There's like a bunch of other cool like up and coming artists that are coming out. It's called like something Verve. I don't remember. I gotta look it
Uh,
up.
I'll look it up for you. Let's see.
But
You said it was in Long Beach?
yeah, at the Long Beach Museum of Art. Um,
Yeah, Vitality and Verve.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You should hit that up, man. If you're
Yeah, I'm in like Pasadena. I'll definitely check it out.
yeah, I'm planning on going tomorrow. So,
Cool, cool.
but
Vitality.
just I don't know, like always trying to get inspired,
Mhm.
places, things, hitting up museums, galleries, wherever I
Yeah,
can.
I'm gonna post it up real quick.
So I'm already like, I don't know about you guys, but or you, there are times where I'm drawing and like in the middle of my drawing, I'm like, I don't even care anymore. I hate this drawing. Like I just lose interest really quickly in my own drawing. I think it's the look on this guy's face. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Do you have a music of choice when you work?
It all depends on my mood. I think I go back and forth. I I used to hate when people say like, oh, what kind of music do you listen to? And they say I listen to everything. I'm like, that's vague, man. Like, really, what do you listen to? But I honestly I don't want to say that I listen to everything, but I'll listen to anything. Like to me, like good music is good music. So
Hmm.
I'm not gonna like, oh, I don't listen to country. I'm like, there's
Right.
could be decent country music out there, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I'll go anywhere from like Tool to like At the Drive-In to like literally Less Savvy Fab, like weird indie stuff to
Wow.
like
Nice.
J. Cole or like I'll listen to hip hop, like anything, like you know what I mean. So
Gotcha.
I'm
That's
kind of
good.
all
That's
over the
cool.
place.
I noticed on this drawing you're focusing more on the planes.
Yeah, just
Um,
kind of just painting stuff in. So just working bigger shapes,
hmm.
seeing values. So it's a little bit more observational. I don't
Got
know.
you. There's a question asking how you approach understanding the planes of the face.
I mean, like that's where the anatomy comes in, because then that helps to remember, right? So, I just if I mean, and it's always just you can even be analytical just by looking at the values, right? So, just understanding every time there's a value change, it's like a plane shift, right? So, every time, like from here to here to here to here to here, this is all a plane shift, and this is all being descriptive of the form. So, um, that's why I think like being brave or being bold with your values is like crucial, because I'll notice a lot of people won't get as dark as they're supposed to.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And then their drawing becomes flat. You know, there's no more form to it. And I think people's fear of getting too dark is just again that fear of like ruining a drawing.
Hmm.
I always tell my students, I'm like, if it feels like it's too dark, go darker.
Mm.
Um, so just that way they don't wuss out. So I don't know. But I say that. I mean, all the stuff that I say, I'm like guilty of myself. Like there are times where I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess it up. Yeah. So like right now, and I'm not going to save any of this, of course, but just what it is. So, but yeah, I think the more you know about the subject that you're drawing, like the better you'll be at drawing it. I think it was like Anthony Jones, like he was talking about like if you asked if you drew a pumpkin right now, you know, like how good would that pumpkin be out of your head? But if you drew like 1,000 pumpkins, like of course that 1,000th pumpkin is going to be better than the first pumpkin that you drew, right? It's just practice and then learning and knowing um, about things, right? Like knowing that this shadow is basically the masseter, right? And he's like kind of gritting his teeth, and that's why that's showing. It's also because he's super fit, but yeah, that's like understanding what we're drawing as opposed to just purely drawing observationally. So,
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
so
because I wouldn't have noticed those nuances unless you mentioned them.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that goes back to me being like weird about anatomy and like just always kind of seeing things.
Hmm. Definitely. But that's why you do what you do, because you're
I
able to see it.
don't know. But I mean, there's always like we were talking about like learning, like always learning. Like there's still like I need to learn a lot about a lot of stuff still. You know what I mean? There's still stuff that I need to hone my craft with.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything in particular that you'd want to jump onto next?
Um, I mean, I want to like I need to get in on like more. I mean, I know animal anatomy. I don't know animal anatomy like I know human anatomy. You know what I mean? So,
Mm,
and I think for like people that want to get into design or like creature design, character design, like you got to know that stuff.
right.
Like just like absolute. Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't know.
definitely.
That's one thing that I want to get into. I don't even know what this is looking like right now. Oh crap! Oh cool, it's still there. I do this a lot too. Like I'll flip my. I used to do this when I was a little kid. I would, when I was drawing, I'd always double check it by flipping it over to the backside and then holding it up to the light so I can see it backwards on paper. You know.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Or I'd hold it in the mirror just to see it backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, because in Photoshop we just flip it, but in real life you can't.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you work primarily here in the States, or do you ever go to Europe to work?
I wish. I've never been to Europe. No, yeah, I'm primarily in the States. Primarily Southern California is where I work. So,
Okay.
like everything. Do we have a lot of people from overseas?
I don't know. Let's see. Anybody from overseas or Europe? Yeah, we have Denmark, London.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hello from Southern California.
Portugal, Germany,
Awesome.
Birmingham, UK. Wow, from all over. That's amazing, actually.
Well, thank you guys for showing up to listen to me talk about dumb things. Well, not all dumb things. That's all. Never mind.
Yeah. We have some people from Spain, Pacific Northwest, NYC.
Oh. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. Man. Sometimes when I get bored of my drawing, I always I go like Day of the Dead. I'll just Day of the Dead on them, like because I don't care anymore.
Do you, in digital work, do you first do grayscale and then do colors, or do you go straight to
Yeah, I
colors?
mean, I'll do that really quick. I spend the majority of my time maybe here, and then I'll do a color layer on top, and then I'll do another just normal layer on top of that just to refine everything. So to me, it's just the fastest, and it's again, it's like if I'm thinking about a painting, the most important thing is value over color, right? Because that's what reads from far away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like nailing this down first. Yeah, I know that's like kind of like a very standard normal practice. But it is for a good reason. So I don't know.
Right. That's looking really cool now.
I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna finish it off with like a nice red rose on his ear.
Perfect.
There we go. Nailed it. Awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think we ended up. It was my fault. I got way off track. But yeah, the head drawing class is going to be totally cool. I think that's the thing. I always felt really confident about drawing heads, like my whole life. That was like the one thing I felt good about. But when I learned, just the general construction of things, like even what I was doing before this, I just felt like it upped my game like a big, like tremendously. Like being able to do this, because there were times where my drawings were inaccurate and I couldn't really figure out why. But now it's like, I can kind of, I know why I messed up things or why things didn't come out right. So,
Right.
But I don't know. I want to do a lot of stuff. Like I want to start, like the idea is to start here. You know what I mean? Not so much like the value in the hair and everything, but just like the construction before I did all this. Make our way through this, and then end with just like, painting, and just value and composition and everything. So
Yeah.
this looks ridiculous. I'm gonna turn that off.
So we hit the 4 o'clock mark right now. If you want to show anything else, or you guys have any more questions, now would be the time.
Yeah, thank you guys. I don't know. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be really cool. This is going to be the most intense week. I'll tell you right now. Like, I'm just getting through this. The week before this, we do the skull. So we literally are constructing from the core. You know what I mean? Building out. we'll spend time talking about the differences between genders, just for the sake of observation and for invention.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, we're going to get into like just value, finishing a drawing. You know what I mean? We'll kind of not necessarily abandon this, but we're going to kind of go back to normal and just draw with this in mind. And then, like I said, composition, a little bit of story. So it'll be fun.
Awesome.
These, by the way, all of these photo references are from students. Like I just took their homework and redrew over it. So this is what they turned into me, and then I just erased theirs and drew. So it was not me that picked this guy. Or what'd you talk about with this? So this is also from homework. Oh crap! I think her name is up there. Okay.
Right.
Not use that. Turn that off. But yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be
Awesome, man. Yeah, that looks like a great class, I'm sure. I mean, this kind of stuff is the best stuff to learn, in my opinion, for anyone starting or for just having the foundational knowledge. It'll help so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
Totally agree. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. This has been fun.
Great.
So cool.
All right. Well, this interview will be available on YouTube later, so you guys can check out the awesome demo that Christian did. Oh, and sorry for butchering your last name in the beginning.
Oh, I don't even care.
Okay, good. I'm glad you didn't notice. But yeah, alrighty. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, thank you
Bye-bye.
guys. All right, bye.